Talk to me, to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Talk to me, to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me, to me.
Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to the Majestic Talk Show. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan, professional Christian and mental health life coach here. We also have Natasha Gresham, the Reverend.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm back with you again. I'm so excited. 2 times in 1 week.
She just loved being on the War Rap Radio down here in the big old city of Saluda. We also have our guest for today, Jalesa and Beaufort Price. Beaufort and Jalesa, say hello to everybody.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hi.
How's it going for y'all today?
It's good. How's it going for you guys?
Awesome on this great, wonderful, rainy day.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be here with the two of you and Tasha and being on this show with all our listeners. Today we have a great topic for today. It's a great topic of something that we don't know. A lot of people don't normally talk about, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have this show. The topic for today is what I wish I knew before marriage, because a lot of times we don't know everything about the person we get married to, and then we're surprised about everything that happens, even the simple thing is about how they use toothpaste, and and you fight over that, and it causes major problems. And if you don't have counseling or coaching before marriage, then you're less likely to survive your marriage. Statistics show that 44% of marriages or couples that get married have a 30% stronger marriage than those who don't. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm.
And with people getting married, you have 50% of those people their marriages will end in divorce. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge percent. And that's why we have to make sure that we go to counseling before marriage and even while we're in marriage to get that checkup. Okay. Mm-hmm. So also, there are researchers that say that people always say, well, the reason they're getting married is I'm in love. Oh my God, I'm so much in love. And that love blinds them, that they don't really see what's really going on. And then 2 years down the line, those little butterflies, are gone really. Uh-huh. And they think that those butterflies were going to sustain their marriage. Again, they think they're surprised. Mm-hmm. And then the people around them say, well, I told you that. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you missed it because you were so in love. And so your mother probably said, hey, look, that dude don't have a job. Don't you think he should have a job before you get married? Well, Mom, he's going to have a job. He's trying his best. 10 years down the line, he still don't have a job. Mm-hmm. So, Tasha, why your face like that?
This is such a good topic. I just can't wait to. I know I'm letting you do your intro, but y'all, this is gonna get good. I promise. Just stick around.
But 93% of people that have had counseling say that they have learned everything they need. They gain tools to strengthen their marriage and to help them go through the different changes in their marriage. Because the person you marry is not the same person that you're going to be married to 10 years later. Everybody changes during the course of time. And you should make sure that before you get married, you're paying attention. You ask questions. Okay, so you want to know how many children you want to have. These things should be discussed before marriage and actually before engagement, because you don't want to waste time with somebody. You might want 3 children, the other one might not want any. You see what I'm saying? So you want to know all of that, just like you do the research on jobs, on different companies, even the place you want to get your hair from. You're not going to just go get hair and you don't know, you don't look at the reviews. At least most, I don't. But you want to make sure that you're not going to be wasting money on something that's going to be hard to deal with later. And you thought it was human, but it's fake. And you mad, and probably saying a few words, But had you did your research, you would have known ahead of time.
One thing that we're talking about that you stated, but just to go a little bit deeper, and we talked about this prior to the show, is people, they get engaged, they set a date, and then they, for the facade, or maybe because somebody suggested, oh, let's go get marriage counseling, but without the actual intent of really working through seeing if they should be married. Because like you said, that's something that we should actually do prior to maybe engage. If we're even talking about getting married, or maybe once we get engaged, before setting the date, we need to seek out a marriage counselor and begin that process to see, help us see what, number one, personal issues that we may not have even known that we have, that we need to work through before, we'll be a good fit for someone else. Or, we may come together and realize that we have a lot of differences and we need to reevaluate, if we want to be together, if we want to work through them, if we want to try to negotiate through it, compromise through it, or if we need to go ahead and save the cost now and go ahead and go our separate ways. So that's something I wanted to, really point out, is if you are engaged, or if you're in a serious relationship and you think it may, head towards marriage, go ahead and start seeking marriage counseling now.
Yeah, because you'll learn a whole lot of things about that person, because the person that's coming in, the one on the outside of the relationship, may see things that you might not notice. And you're more likely to listen to them, especially if it's a pastor or someone you look up to in high regards like that, other than your parents. Then you may listen to that person. So they may see the red flags that you don't see and bring them out. And then not only that, the person you're going to be marrying may not know that they have those issues, like you said. So if someone is pointing it out to them and showing them how they can get through that particular issue, then they're better off when they marry you, or marry the person they're going to marry. Because most of the time, the divorces statistics show that 43% of the divorces that occur are because of incompatibility.
Wow. That's almost 50%.
Now, couldn't you have known that you were incompatible before? Or maybe you were just so comfortable in that relationship that you didn't want to start over again. So you stayed in that relationship knowing the issues that person has, or the issues in your relationship. And you continue to stay there, maybe because of other people. Again, maybe because you were just comfortable there. Or maybe you felt you were lonely. You didn't want to be an old Spencer. See, I'm 42. I ain't never been married, haven't been married or anything. See, I'm not in a rush. See, so you want to make sure that that person is working on himself, and you're seeing maybe the number of children you're going to have. You got to make sure that you agree on that. You got to have a plan for different changes, different seasons in your marriage. What if one person, you're married, one person can't no longer work? Something happens to them. What are you going to do? So you have to have a plan and know what you're going to do in those situations. And that's why it's good to have a coach or a counselor to assist you in those things. Blue and Jaleisha,
Yes.
based on
Yeah.
everything,
Welcome to Majestic Talks.
honey,
Hey.
this is the happening. This is the place to be, honey. But
Uh,
anyway, what do you think about what we said? Do you think those things are true? And how did you prepare for marriage? Since y'all have, and let us know how long you've been married. Give us a little bit more information about yourself before you start telling us about your comments on what we just said.
okay. So we'll be coming up on 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
coming November the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to us getting married or even engaged, I would say we for sure took our time. A lot of people that know us and that we know were like, y'all took forever, or I've heard that it took y'all long enough. I'm like, but I mean, it was no rush. There was no rush. We trusted the Father, and we, were consulting Him first. And
How long was your
um,
courtship?
ooh, child.
Look, here and there, back and forth, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain period of time, for about 2 years, honestly, we there wasn't much communication. But overall, what about, was it like 2 years or more?
Yeah,
It's been about 10 years or more.
Mm.
10, like 10,
One zero.
like a decade. Okay, all right. It
I mean,
was
but
no
that was if
rush.
we were like in like high school, like middle school, high school, So,
Okay.
like I
Aw.
said, we had a break for like 2 years
Mm-hmm.
once we had gotten into our, I guess, young adult stage of life. um, and then we just, well, not us, but we just believe the Father brought us back together because honestly, what I can say, attracted me to my spouse is just I always at a certain age I was young, but I knew that I wanted to have a man who feared the Father, and I didn't want anything less than that. So, um, as long as he reverenced him first, and I noticed that was to me that's just number one. Because your spiritual being is, if something happens, like you all were talking about, what if someone can't work, or what if something happens in life? You want to be okay enough to where and know that your spouse is going to be there to pray over you or cover you. So that was my biggest thing. What about you?
Um, like I said, it's been about quite a few years.
We
Um,
old.
yeah, we feel like we getting old,
Oh, okay.
but it's it's just a constant learning process. And
Mm-hmm.
like she said, it's been about 10 years, but it's just a whole. Now it's just a totally different process now. Um, and I think my mom said it best before when we was on a 2 year break, and she told me that I had to learn. I had to learn to Lisa again. I had to fall in love with her again because I fell in love with her as a teenager or as a preteen,
Mm-hmm.
and she fell in love with me as a teenager. So that's all she knew me as.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's a whole different process now. So
I want to stop you right there because I think it's amazing that when we were discussing, the topic, things we wish we knew before we got married, and
Mm-hmm.
and Blue, if you don't mind me calling you Blue, on L.
no, that's fine.
That that is what I told Tasha that I wish I knew. I wish I had understood even myself. I didn't even understand this within myself how human beings, how we evolve, how we change, how we grow,
Right.
how we learn, and that the person I didn't realize the person that I married in 2009 is almost a shadow of who I'm married to now in 2021. And I know oh goodness, I'm probably two whole shades different. so and so it's amazing that that was something that wisdom came and you did, and you were able to, that was a fact that you did know, or some wisdom that you did have prior to marriage, because I had to learn that inside
Right.
the marriage.
And that's no problem to me. There's no it's no problem, having to learn things on the go. I think that's one of the most interesting things to me. That shows me my spouse. That shows me what kind of sparring partner I have. What kind of partner I have when we on the spur of the moment. When things arise and she see a different side of me, and she's like, okay, now I gotta adapt to this, or I gotta figure this out, or vice versa. So some people may figure something out before marriage, and some people, to me, the person that figures it out during their marriage and they stick it out, that's the strongest. That's the strongest one to me, because they didn't have time to prepare for it, but you made it, but you adapted to it. So to me, a person like you said yourself, you had to adapt to different things. Now that that, to me, that's a strong individual, because you not only did you adapt to it, but you overcame it, and you didn't allow those certain things to break you or to break your relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. But it is good to always know some. You're not gonna know everything,
Everything.
but you
Right,
want to know
Well,
something
like you
because there.
said, having the tools.
Hmm.
right,
I convey that strength. That you're speaking of, is to having those tools. There were things that I wanted to. I'm gonna tell you one thing that sticks with me, and again, after almost 12 years of marriage, which would have been 13 years ago in counseling, is that you cannot be upset about an expectation that's not communicated.
Hmm.
yeah,
So a lot of times when I'm ready to eat to this day, when I'm like, why he didn't do this, or I can't believe whatever. Okay, I just have to sit back. Well, did you verbalize that, Natasha? Did you ask him that? Did you make
wow,
if I didn't, then I gotta go back to I pull all of my little want to be upset back and put it in my pocket, go have a conversation about it. Now it's in my pocket because after I done said it now. I'm gonna pull it out again, but
right,
but no, but I'm being silly, but seriously, that's a tool that I still have to use. I still hold on to from 13 years ago. So no, it doesn't stop us from miscommunicating. It doesn't stop me from getting upset, but I have something to hold on to go ahead and work on that issue or fix that.
right,
Yeah.
And you said something that is very important. Communication.
Mhm.
That is the main thing you should always do because everything revolves around communication. A lot of times we think communication is, well, I was sitting there with you while you were talking.
Yeah.
Well, what did I say? Well, I don't really know because I was thinking about something else, but at least I was sitting there.
Mhm.
In other words, that person was passively listening to you.
Mhm.
To passive listen means is a one-way communication.
Mhm.
That means I'm not listening to understand or comprehend what you said and to give a response, but I'm just there.
Mhm.
It's like you're talking to a wall.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of the problem. But if we actively listen, that means I'm listening. Clear mind. My focus is to make sure I understand what you say
Mhm.
and respond to what you said.
Mhm.
Because if I do that, say for instance, um, Blue was like, he
Y'all have an
came in.
example? Y'all want to share?
say it again.
I said, do y'all have an example y'all want to share of a passive listening or communication situation?
Well, I think I think that generally happens a lot. Um, Most throughout the day, day by day. And just like you were saying that, it's a one way thing, and this person isn't, he may be listening, but it's not comprehending. And I think sometimes we do that not intentionally. I know for myself, um, my wife could be communicating with me about something, and it's just, to me, it's just like a one way thing with me, because sometimes I'm just tuned out, and it's like I know she feel like she just talking at me or whatever, and then she ain't getting no response, or she feel like I may not be listening because of the actions that I show forth afterwards. So to me, that I don't think that a lot of times we do it intentionally. But I know for me that's a daily thing that I deal with it, whether it's something small like she may be talking to me about something around the house, or something how she feels. And so I think that's something we deal with daily. And some of it we look at it as minor stuff, and we don't really focus on it too much because we think it's so small. So, but that's a daily issue with me. That's a daily issue with me, and I know that goes both ways as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Jaleisha had said to you, what's one thing that you said she talking about you about doing something around the house? So, if you had sat and listened to her and then said, what I think you're saying is,
Mm-hmm.
now let me know if I'm comprehending what you're saying, and if not, let me know, and say it again so I can get it and I can understand what you're saying. Then
Mm-hmm.
she will feel like I'm being heard. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? Now, a lot of people don't just do that on the little bitty thing. They do that
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of stuff.
Right.
They
Mm-hmm.
passive listening on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Beaufort may be one out of a million, or maybe one of 30 or 40. So some people, a lot of men, you know, no
Uh-huh.
shade, but a lot of men passively listen.
Listen.
Women do too,
Mm-hmm.
when it isn't something that they really want to, they don't really want to listen to, but if you listen actively, the person feels heard and it's rewarding to them. That
Mm-hmm.
is something more than giving them a gift. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is something that makes them feel
Mm-hmm.
worth your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's the way we miss it in the marriage and the relationships. Not just marriages, but relationships in general.
Mm-hmm.
If we
Right.
Mm-hmm.
listen to each other, we'll be a lot farther than we are.
And I think being intentional about fixing the
Mm-hmm.
unintentional.
Yeah.
I've had to. I'm always head in the clouds with something on my mind, and sometimes my husband is talking to me, and he'll be looking for a reply, and I'm like, and I have to say, babe, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I was thinking about something else. Could you please repeat that? I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening to you.
What is
I have to
it?
fix. I have to take responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
my part. No, I wasn't ignoring him intentionally. Like, it's not like what he's saying doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Right.
fact is, I ignored him. And so, we have to be intentional about fixing the unintentional.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
yeah, that is so true. Some of the things we might want to know before we get married
Mm-hmm.
is there are a few things you might want to have a conversation. I'm just before it's time for us to go off. I just want to say these few things, and then I want Beaufort and Jalesha to let me know the three things that they wish they knew before marriage. Okay,
Mm.
so
Okay.
here we go. You want to know how many children you want to have. You want to discuss those things. You want to know how they are with solving problems.
Mm.
Maybe some problems you may have, you might start um the way to learn and put that in action is to start solving a few problems that you may have before marriage. Say because just like you planned the wedding and you solved the problem of you have a seating arrangement, So you saw the problem of, okay, well, this person can't sit by this person because they don't like this person. So that's the problem that you solve in your for your wedding plans and your wedding day. So
Mhm.
you do the same for your marriage.
Right.
You want to learn how to solve a problem. How is that person when things change? So you want to know that. You want to develop a plan on when we're going through an argument, then what word can we agree to say that's going to
Mm-hmm.
make us know and understand that, hey, I need a timeout?
Mm-hmm.
You may say something that means something to you, something important to you, may use that word. Say, for instance, what's a safe word you might use, Beaufort or Jalesa?
As far as like when you need a moment or something to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said before, okay, I just need a moment. I just come out. I'm be honest, I'm straightforward. I'll be like, I just need a moment for a second. Let me
So,
just get myself together, and then we'll continue after that. Because you don't want to just say something that you may not even mean at that moment, or
mm-hmm.
just go spur off the moment because of anger, or because you feel like your spouse doesn't understand what you're saying or where you're coming from. So
Mm-hmm.
I know personally, I've said, before, hey, I just give me a moment, and then, let's reconvene, let's go back at it, and try to do this the right way.
So,
So,
so, in other words, the person that calls the time out is supposed to be the person that calls the time back in.
right. Hmm.
You're always supposed to make sure that you give that person that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of a lot of people who go right behind the person when they leaving out and you start yelling and hollering about stuff, which makes the situation worse. So you
Right.
want to have at least a safe word, or you want to have something that'll make the other person understand that you need to have a cool down moment. That's good, Jaleisha. You're doing good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. Now, don't try to get my show now. I'm just playing. That's just a joke.
No, you
So you want to comfortably talk about finances, okay? Maybe you may decide to have a plan where, okay, well, I get a check, you get a check. So we may have a joint account, and we take a percentage of that money out of our checks and we put it in that joint account. You also may have your own separate accounts, because some people like to keep a separate account, which will be good because then you put that percentage of your check into your account that you want to put into your account, and you keep that way. What you may want to spend on certain things that you want to do, then you have that money to spend on
Mhm.
that. And then the joint account, then y'all discuss. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Mhm.
You think
Definitely.
that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because that'll,
Um.
go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying. That's pretty much just how you said it. I know we opened. We did a joint savings account. And so um, and then everything else is we have. We do our own personal thing or whatever. But we have that one joint saving account as well. Just for, like you said, taking a percentage here or whatever, and just doing.
Mhm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
it's something that we can have collectively, because I do believe that everybody, you're supposed to have your own personal things, your own personal stuff to yourself, but I do think it's good to have you know something collective,
Mm-hmm.
that you share together, so whether it's something it's just like a savings account, a bank account together or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And then, we got a few. How many minutes we have, producer? You had three. And say 3 more minutes. So, the other thing I was gonna say, well, that's good. We'll go to the three things that you wish you knew.
Okay. Well, the three things I wish I knew before getting married. The first one is the struggles behind actually learning one another
Mm-hmm.
inside a different element, and it's like what we talked about earlier. Um, relearning a person totally different. Like knowing, understanding now that this person is totally different than what it was when we were younger, or so it's just learning that person over again inside a different element.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, the unlearned requirements of being a leader and being submissive. So on my end, learning how to, be a leader, because a lot of us aren't taught, you
Mm-hmm.
know, how to be that leader in a marriage. We're not taught that. Most of our people aren't taught that, and a lot of women aren't taught as well how to be submissive. So it's on both ends with that. And the third thing is how to mentally deal with the struggles of everyday life and the problems of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to what you said earlier. Just trying to, making sure you have somebody that's there to be able, if you lose a job, or if we go through this or we go through that, how to mentally deal with that. Because again, us as a people, we're not taught the mental states of things. We're not taught how to mentally deal with stuff. As a man, we're taught, you got to get out here, you got to work, you got to do this, you got to do that, and we're not really taught how to mentally deal with problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you have people, some people cope, they use different coping mechanisms. Some may turn to this, some may, turn to infidelity, or some may turn to drugs, or whatever the case may be, because mentally we're not taught how to handle problems when they arise within our marriage.
Okay. All right, Jaleisha, can you give us one or two since we have 1 minute left?
Yeah, I was just about to say, let me go get these right quick. The main thing I know, that I realized is just, also learning, knowing that there are going to be a few struggles here and there when it comes to learning your partner, for sure. And just, for me, since, uh, not just learning, but I know I've talked to one of my friends a lot about it, is learning how to be submissive as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just simply because most most of us, um, not most of us, but in our community, sometimes it's mostly single parent homes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when you see that one side of independency all the time, that's what you grow up to kind of take on, especially when you go off on your own for a while. And if you've never really lived with, anyone else, especially like your spouse or something like that. So those were, I know, two things for me that, I'm praying and working on, and the prayer the Father team to help me with every day. Um, so those are two for me, for
Okay.
learning your spouse and the submissiveness of it all.
All right. Good. Good show. I really enjoy having y'all on the show. Thank y'all for coming, Jaleisha and
Thank you all
Beaufort.
for having us.
Love y'all.
Yeah, Beaufort is the one that got me that jingle you hear every time on this show
Well,
and
hold
on
on, hold on.
advertising. I
I
said you
can't take
got it.
I can't take credit for that, because I brought that to my best friend Jonathan LeGrune, and he put all that together. He masterfully put all that together. So that the guy that you hear singing, that's him. He put all that together. So shout out to my best friend Jonathan LeGrune. He's the mastermind behind all that.
Shout out to
Thank
Bro.
you, Jonathan. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But that's why I said Beaufort got it for me.
Yeah, yeah. I took it to him, and he did he put it together.
And I love it too. So I really appreciate it. So thank you for getting it. And Jonathan, thank you so much for doing it for me. Everybody, thank you for being on this show. And thank you, listeners, for listening to the show. We really love and appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan. We'll see you next time on the Majestic Talk Show. Good night, everybody.
Majestic talks. Come and talk to Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me, to me.